Quan stood in the training hall, watching the other cadets move through their combat drills. They were all so much bigger than him. The Vorath had thick armor-like skin that could stop blades. The Skrillex had forearms that moved faster than his eyes could follow. The Kelvin could speak to each other's minds, moving together like one creature. Then there was Quan, just a human, just 19 years old, just 5'8" tall and weighing less than most of their weapons. Again, the Terran fails, Thexral announced loudly. The big Vorath cadet laughed, his voice echoing off the metal walls. How did your species even get accepted into the Hunter Corps? You cannot fight. You cannot win. You are weak, the other cadets laughed too. Some looked away, embarrassed for him. But no one defended him. Quan said nothing. He had learned months ago that arguing only made things worse. He picked up his training blade and returned to the practice dummy. His arms ached. His legs burned, but he kept going. Commander Hana watched from the observation deck above. She was one of only 3 humans working at the Galactic Academy. She had fought Ravagers for 15 years before becoming an instructor. She had seen entire planets destroyed by those monsters. She had watched good warriors die. Now she watched Quan struggle and her heart hurt. He will not last another week, said Instructor Velnoth, a Skrillex with scars covering 2 of his arms. The petition to remove him has 43 signatures. Even some of the human sympathizers agree. He is a liability. He has not quit, Hana said quietly. Quitting would be wise, Velnoth replied. Better to leave with dignity than die on a real mission because you were too proud to admit weakness. Hana said nothing. She had read Quan's file. She knew things the other instructors did not know. But files could be wrong, and the Academy Board wanted results, not potential. Down in the training hall, Quan finished his 1000th strike against the practice dummy. His hands bled through his gloves. The dummy registered his performance. Below average in power, below average in speed, below average in technique. Pathetic, Thexral said, walking past. Tomorrow we have team evaluations. Pray you are not on my squad, soft-worlder. I will not carry dead weight. Quan finally looked up at him. I won't need carrying. Thexral laughed so hard his armored plates rattled. You? You can barely lift a standard pulse rifle. You move like a sick child. The Ravagers will eat you alive, and I will not risk my life to save yours. That night, Quan sat in his small quarters. The walls were bare metal. The bed was too hard. Everything on the station was built for species larger and stronger than humans. Even the doors were heavy enough to hurt when they closed too fast. He looked at his hands. The bleeding had stopped, but bruises covered his knuckles. Tomorrow would be worse. Team evaluations meant real combat scenarios against training drones programmed to fight like Ravagers. Cadets had died in team evaluations before. The Academy did not believe in safe training. His computer screen showed a message waiting. He opened it. It was from Commander Hana. Meeting tomorrow, 0600 hours, my office, mandatory. Quan knew what that meant. They were going to expel him. 6 months of work, of pain, of trying so hard his body screamed. All of it would end with a quiet meeting and a transport ship back to Earth. He should have felt sad. Instead, he felt angry. Humans had fought for centuries to earn a place in the Galactic Council. Earth had been seen as a weak world, full of soft creatures who could barely survive their own planet's diseases. But humans had proven themselves. They had explored dangerous space. They had made peace with hostile aliens. They had earned respect. Quan had come to the Academy to prove humans could be warriors too. Not just diplomats or scientists or merchants. Warriors who could stand beside the strongest species in the galaxy and fight the Ravagers. But maybe Thexral was right. Maybe humans were too weak. Quan stood up. He put on his training clothes. He left his quarters and walked through the empty corridors. Station lights had dimmed for night cycle. Most cadets were sleeping, preparing for tomorrow's evaluation. Quan did not go to the main training hall. That would be locked. Instead, he went to Sector 7, the abandoned section. 3 years ago, there had been an accident during training. Equipment had malfunctioned. 2 cadets had died. The Academy had shut down the entire sector and never reopened. Cadets were forbidden from entering Sector 7. The punishment was immediate. Expulsion. Quan entered anyway. The old training equipment still worked barely. Quan activated a combat dummy set to Ravager movement patterns. Not the easy training level. The real level. The level that could actually hurt him. The dummy attacked. Quan fought. He was not good. He was not fast. He was not strong. But he did not stop. Hours passed. Quan fell 19 times. His nose broke. His ribs cracked. Blood ran down his face, and he kept fighting, because this was what humans did. They survived. They adapted. They refused to die even when they should. At 0400 hours, Quan finally stopped. The combat dummy had run out of power. He had won by simply lasting longer than the machine's battery. He walked back to his quarters. In 2 hours, he would meet Commander Hana. She would probably tell him to leave. She would say it kindly with respect. But the message would be the same. You are not good enough. Quan showered and put on his uniform. The bleeding had mostly stopped. He looked at himself in the mirror. His face was purple with bruises. His left eye was swollen almost shut. He looked terrible. He smiled. At 600 hours, Quan stood outside Commander Hana's office. He pressed the entry button. Come in, her voice said. Quan entered. Commander Hana sat behind her desk. She looked at his face and stood up quickly. What happened to you? Training, Commander. That is not training. That is damage. She walked around the desk, studying his injuries. The medical officer will... I am ready for team evaluations today, Commander. Quan interrupted. Hana stared at him. Then slowly she smiled. It was a small smile, almost sad. Sit down, Quan, she said. We need to talk about your future here. Quan sat. He did not look away from her eyes. Whatever she was going to say, he would face it directly. The board wants you removed from the program, Hana said. They say you are not ready, that you may never be ready. Yes, Commander. But I convinced them to give you one more chance. Today's team evaluation will decide everything. If you perform well, you stay. If you do not... She did not need to finish, Quan nodded. I understand. Do you? Hana leaned forward. This is not a normal evaluation, Quan. They have paired you with Thexrel's squad deliberately. If you fail, they fail. They will not be gentle with you. I know. And you still want to try? Quan thought about last night. About fighting until the machine died. About refusing to quit even when his body begged him to stop. Yes, Commander. I am ready. Hana studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded. Report to Training Hall 7 in 1 hour, and Quan, try not to die today. I will do my best, Commander. As Quan left, Hana sat back down at her desk. She pulled up his file again. There was a note at the bottom, marked classified. It was from Medical Officer Yuna. The note said, Subject shows unusual pain tolerance and recovery markers. Physiological stress responses abnormal for baseline human. Recommend continued observation. Hana closed the file. She had seen these markers before during the war. In soldiers who survived missions they should not have survived. In humans who kept fighting when all logic said they should be dead. Maybe the board was wrong. Maybe Quan was not too weak. Maybe he was exactly what the Academy needed, even if they did not know it yet. The team evaluation began at 800 hours. Quan stood with Thexrel's squad in the staging area. There were 6 cadets total. Thexrel led them, of course. He was the highest ranked in their class. The other 4 cadets were all from warrior species. They had trained their whole lives for combat. They came from families of soldiers and hunters. They were born for this. Then there was Quan, added to the squad just an hour ago. Listen carefully, Thexrel said, not looking at Quan. We have one goal. Complete the objective without casualties. The training drones are set to advanced difficulty. They will fight like real Ravagers. If you get hit, you will feel real pain. If you fail to follow orders, we all fail. He finally looked at Quan. You will stay behind the formation. You will not engage unless ordered. You will not make decisions. You are here because the instructors require 6 members per squad. Nothing more, Quan nodded. He had expected this. The simulation zone was massive. It recreated a colony under attack. Buildings, streets, civilians to protect. And somewhere in that maze, training drones that moved and fought like Ravagers. The objective was simple. Reach the colony center and activate the evacuation beacon. The Ravagers would try to stop them. Begin, the overhead speaker announced. Thexrel led them forward. The squad moved in practiced formation. Quan stayed at the back as ordered. He carried a basic pulse rifle, the smallest one available. Even that felt heavy after hours of training the night before. The first Ravager drone appeared 3 minutes into the simulation. It came fast, screeching, all claws and teeth. The squad responded perfectly. 2 cadets pinned it with suppression fire. Texeral moved in close and destroyed it with his powered gauntlets. The drone collapsed, leaking simulation fluid. Efficient, Texeral said proudly. They moved forward. 2 more drones appeared, then 4. The squad handled them all. Quan fired his rifle when he had clear shots, but he was not needed. The others were too good. 15 minutes into the simulation, they reached a plaza. The evacuation beacon stood on the far side, 200 meters away. Between them and the beacon, 30 Ravager drones waited. Defensive formation, Texeral ordered immediately. We cannot fight that many at once. We hold here and thin their numbers, then push through. It was a good plan, safe and tactical. But Quan saw something the others did not. The drones were not attacking. They were waiting, forcing the squad to waste time. And in the buildings around the plaza, more drones were moving into position. It is a trap, Quan said quietly. Silence, Texeral snapped. You do not have tactical authority. The buildings, Quan insisted. Look at the movement patterns. They are surrounding us, Texeral glared at him. But then one of the other cadets checked her scanner. He is correct, she said. I count 40 more drones moving through the structures. If we stay here, they will encircle us. Texeral's armored plates shifted with anger. He hated being wrong. He hated that a human had seen it first. New plan, he said. We break through the center group and run for the beacon. Speed over caution. That will not work, Quan said. You will not speak again unless I command it. Texeral roared. But Quan had already started moving, not toward the 30 drones in the plaza. He ran to the side toward a narrow street between buildings. What are you doing? Texeral shouted. That is not the objective. Quan did not answer. He was looking at the buildings, at the layout, at the way the drones were positioned. Humans were good at one thing that other species often overlooked: pattern recognition. Seeing solutions that were not obvious, he reached a door and kicked it open. Inside was dark. A Ravager drone lunged at him immediately. Quan dropped and rolled. The drone's claws hit the doorframe. Quan came up and fired 3 times. The drone fell. There is a path through the buildings, Quan called back. We can bypass the plaza entirely. Texeral looked at the plaza, at the drones, at the trap closing around them. His pride wanted to refuse. His training told him to listen. Move, he finally ordered. Follow the human. They entered the building. Quan led them through rooms and corridors. Twice they encountered drones. Twice Quan saw them first and called warnings. The squad destroyed the drones efficiently. They emerged on the other side of the plaza, just 50 meters from the beacon. 10 drones stood between them and success. Now we can fight, Texeral said. Formation Alpha. Push through, the squad charged. The drones attacked. It was chaos. Quan stayed at the back as ordered. He fired when he could, providing covering fire. The squad was good. They would win this. Then Quan's training kicked in. That thing Commander Hana had mentioned. That thing humans did without thinking. He saw the pattern before anyone else did. The drones were not trying to stop them. They were hurting them, pushing them toward a specific point near the beacon, where a massive drone waited, hidden underground. Stop, Quan shouted. It is a trap. There is something. The ground exploded. A training drone 3 times larger than the others emerged. It was programmed to act like a Ravager queen, heavily armored. Extremely dangerous. Texeral's squad scattered. 2 cadets were hit by debris. The queen drone roared and attacked. It moved fast. Too fast for something so large. It went straight for Texeral, recognizing the squad leader. Texeral raised his gauntlets to defend. The queen's claw came down like a hammer. Quan moved without thinking. He ran forward and slammed into Texeral from the side, pushing the bigger cadet out of the way. The queen's claw missed Texeral by inches and hit Quan instead. The pain was enormous. The training system delivered real feedback. Not enough to truly injure, but enough to teach. Quan felt his ribs crack. His breath exploded from his lungs. He flew backward and hit a wall. The queen turned toward him, recognizing an easier target. Quan tried to stand. His body would not cooperate. His vision blurred. This was it. He was about to fail the evaluation in the most spectacular way possible. Then anger filled him. No, not like this. Not after everything. Quan grabbed his rifle. It had fallen beside him. He raised it with shaking arms and fired. The shots hit the Queen's optical sensors, not enough to destroy it, but enough to blind it temporarily. Now, Quan shouted to the squad. While it cannot see, Thexrel stared at him. The human was broken against a wall, bleeding from his nose and mouth. And he was still fighting. Something changed in Thexrel's eyes. For the human, he roared and charged the Queen. The rest of the squad followed. Together, they brought down the massive drone. Thexrel delivered the final strike, crushing its central processor. The simulation ended. Lights came on. The drones all powered down. Medical drones rushed forward to check injuries. Quan could not move. He hurt everywhere, but he had not quit. Thexrel walked over to him. He knelt down. For a long moment, he said nothing. You saved my life, Thexrel finally said. Why? Quan tried to laugh. It hurt too much. We are a squad. That is what squads do. I have been cruel to you. I called you weak. I wanted you expelled. I know, yet you still saved me. Quan managed a small smile. Maybe that is why humans are in the Hunter Corps. We do not give up on our squad. Even when our squad gives up on us, Thexrel stood. He looked at the other cadets. Then he did something Quan never expected. He performed the Vorath salute of respect, a gesture given only to honored warriors. I was wrong about you, Quan of Terra, Thexrel said loudly. You are not weak. You are just different. And perhaps that difference is strength. The other cadets murmured agreement. Some looked ashamed. Others looked impressed. Medical Officer Yuna arrived with a stretcher. She scanned Quan quickly. 3 cracked ribs, bruised organs, minor internal bleeding, she said. You should be unconscious. I have been hurt worse, Quan said quietly. Yuna looked at him strangely. When? Where? Last night. Sector 7, training. Yuna's eyes widened. She looked at Commander Hana, who had just arrived. He was in Sector 7? Yuna asked. Apparently, Hana said. She looked at Quan with an expression he could not read. That is unauthorized. That is forbidden. That is grounds for immediate expulsion. Quan nodded. He had known that when he went there. It is also, Hana continued, exactly what I would have done in your position. She turned to the assembled instructors. This cadet passes evaluation. Recorded officially. Later that day, Quan woke in medical bay. His body was wrapped in healing bandages. Medicine pumped through tubes into his arms. Commander Hana sat beside his bed. Instructor Daehyun wants to meet with you, she said. He is another human. Veteran of the Ravager Wars. He said he saw you fighting last night in Sector 7. He was conducting an inspection. Am I in trouble? You should be. But Daehyun told the board that you showed more combat instinct in one night than most cadets show in a year. He wants to train you personally. Quan did not know what to say. Something is coming, Hana said quietly. Intelligence has detected Ravager scout forces near the frontier colonies. Within a month, senior cadets will be deployed on a real mission, with a real veteran commander. She looked at Quan. If you keep training, you might be selected. Do you understand what that means? Real combat, real death, Hana corrected. But also real purpose. This is what you came here for, is it not? Quan thought about Thexrel, about the squad working together, about the feeling of protecting others even when it hurt. Yes, Commander. This is what I came here for. 3 weeks later, Quan stood in the deployment bay with 40 other cadets. They wore full combat armor now. Real weapons hung from their belts. This was not a training exercise. The briefing had been clear. Ravager scouts detected near Targus 3 colony. Population 4,000. Mostly civilians, families, children. The mission was simple. Deploy to Targus 3. Establish defensive positions. Evacuate civilians. Hold for 48 hours until fleet reinforcements arrived. Simple, but not easy. Quan checked his rifle for the 10th time. His hands did not shake. He thought they should shake. This was real. He could die today. Nervous human? Thexrel stood beside him. Over the past 3 weeks, things had changed between them. Not friendship exactly, but respect, understanding. Yes, Quan admitted. Good. Fear keeps you alive. Overconfidence kills. Thexrel adjusted his own armor. Stay close during the deployment. Watch my back. I will watch yours. Like a squad should. Like a squad should. Thexrel agreed. The deployment bay doors opened. A massive figure entered. Silence fell over the cadets like a physical weight. Vormalik the Unfallen walked into the room. Quan had heard stories about him. Every cadet had. Formalic was Kelvin, a species known for telepathic coordination and pack hunting, but Formalic hunted alone. He was 70 cycles old. He had killed more Ravagers than most entire units. He had survived battles that destroyed armies. They called him the Great Hunter. The Unfallen. The legend. He stood 8 feet tall. His body was covered in scars. Each scar had a story. Each story ended with Vormalik alive and his enemies dead. His eyes swept across the assembled cadets. When his gaze passed over Quan, it paused. Just for a moment, then moved on. "I am your mission commander," Vormalik said. His voice was deep and calm. "Many of you will see your first real combat today. Some of you will perform well. Some will freeze. Some will run. This is normal." He walked slowly among them. "The Ravagers do not care about your training scores. They do not care about your species or your rank. They care only about consuming. They are very good at it. That is why you are here. To be better." Vormalik stopped at the center of the room. "We leave in 10 minutes. Check your equipment. Say your prayers if you have gods. Prepare yourselves." The Ravagers certainly have. The cadets dispersed to final preparations. Quan started toward the equipment lockers when he heard Vormalik's voice behind him. "You are the human cadet." "Quan." Quan turned. Vormalik stood close, studying him. Up close, the Great Hunter was even more intimidating. His eyes were yellow and sharp. They saw everything. "Yes, sir. I read your evaluation reports. You were nearly expelled. Now you are deployed on a frontline mission. That is quite a change." "I work hard, sir. Many work hard. Few succeed." Vormalik tilted his head. "You move like prey trying to be predator. Awkward, uncertain, but there is something else. Something in your eyes." Quan did not know what to say. "We will see," Vormalik said. "Combat reveals truth. Either you are a warrior, or you are a cadet pretending to be one. Today, we will learn which." He walked away, leaving Quan alone with his thoughts. The transport ship descended through Targus 3's atmosphere. Quan sat with the other cadets, feeling the ship shake and rattle. Through the small windows, he could see smoke rising from the colony below. "We are early," the pilot's voice crackled over the speakers. "The Ravagers hit the colony 6 hours ago. They were supposed to be scouts. Intelligence was wrong," the ship jolted. "Something hit them from outside. We are taking fire," the pilot shouted. "Brace for combat landing." The ship spun. Cadets grabbed their harnesses. Quan's stomach flipped. They were going down hard. The ship hit ground, bounced, hit again. Metal screamed. Then silence. "Move!" Vormalik's command cut through the confusion. "Deploy now!" The side doors blew open. Cadets poured out into smoke and chaos. Quan stumbled out last, his rifle ready. The colony was burning. Buildings collapsed. Screams echoed through streets. And everywhere, Ravagers. They moved like insects but fought like demons. Dark bodies covered in natural armor. Claws that could tear through steel. Teeth that never stopped snapping. "Defensive positions," Vormalik ordered. "Cadets with ranged weapons, suppression fire." "Melee specialists, protect the flanks," the cadets responded. Training took over. They formed a defensive line and opened fire. Quan found himself beside Thexral. They fired together, covering each other's reloads. The Ravagers kept coming. "There are too many," someone shouted. "Hold the line." Vormalik's voice cut through the panic. The Great Hunter moved through the battle like death itself. Every movement precise. Every strike lethal. Ravagers fell before him like grass before a blade. But even Vormalik could not be everywhere. "Section 3 is breaking," a cadet screamed. Quan looked right. A group of Ravagers had flanked the defensive line. They were heading toward a building with civilian shelters. "We need backup at Section 3. Thexral called into his communicator. "Negative," came the response. "All units engaged. No backup available." Quan saw the Ravagers reach the building. He saw them tear at the doors. Inside, people were screaming. He made a choice. "Cover me," he told Thexral and ran toward the building. "Quan, no. You will be isolated." But Quan was already gone. He reached the building as the first Ravager broke through the door. Quan fired. The creature fell. 2 more came through the opening. Quan's mind went cold and clear. This was like Sector 7, like training. Except this time, if he failed, real people died. The first Ravager lunged. Quan dropped his rifle and grabbed a piece of broken metal from the ground. He swung it like a club. The Ravager dodged. Quan had expected that. He kicked debris into its eyes, blinding it temporarily. While it was distracted, Quan grabbed his combat knife and drove it into the creature's neck joint. The Ravager screamed and collapsed. The second Ravager was already on him. Claws raked his armor. Quan felt the impact, but no pain yet. Adrenaline was a powerful drug. He grabbed the Ravager's arm and twisted, using its own momentum against it. The creature stumbled. Quan's knife found its throat. 3 more Ravagers appeared around the corner. Quan's body hurt. His armor was damaged. He had no backup. He was 1 human against 3 killing machines. He smiled. Because humans had one advantage that no other species truly understood. Humans could fight while broken. Humans could win while dying. Humans refused to stop. Quan attacked. He moved through pain. He used walls and debris as weapons. He fought dirty, striking eyes and joints and anything vulnerable. The Ravagers were stronger and faster. But Quan was meaner. 1 Ravager fell. Then another. The third caught him across the ribs. Quan felt something break inside. He ignored it. His knife found the creature's spine. Silence fell. Quan stood alone in a corridor filled with dead Ravagers. His armor was shredded. Blood ran down his face. He could not remember if it was his blood or theirs. Behind him, the shelter door opened. A woman looked out. Her children hid behind her. "Thank you," she whispered. Quan nodded. He could not speak. His lungs were not working right. He tried to walk back to the defensive line. His legs failed. He fell against a wall and slid down, still clutching his knife. Footsteps approached. Heavy and measured, Vormalik appeared through the smoke. The great hunter looked at the dead Ravagers. 7 of them. Then he looked at Quan. "You left your position," Vormalik said. "Yes, sir. People needed help. You fought alone against superior numbers." "Yes, sir." "You are injured, possibly dying." Quan tried to laugh. It came out as a cough. "Yes, sir." Vormalik knelt beside him. For a long moment, the great hunter simply studied Quan's face. 50 years ago, Vormalik said quietly. "I was on a death world. My entire unit was killed. I was wounded and alone. I should have died." He looked at the dead Ravagers again. "But humans found me. 3 humans in an exploration ship. They had no reason to help. The Ravagers outnumbered them. Logic said they should leave me and escape." "What did they do?" Quan asked. "They fought. For 3 days they fought. They used tactics I had never seen. They fought while wounded. They fought while bleeding. They simply refused to die." Vormalik's eyes met Quan's. "They reminded me that survival is not about strength. It is about refusing to stop." Medical drones arrived. They began scanning Quan. 2 broken ribs, punctured lung, severe blood loss, one drone reported. "How is he still conscious?" "Because he is human," Vormalik said. "And humans are very difficult to kill." As the medical team worked, Vormalik stood. "Your action saved 200 civilians. That is a good day's work, Cadet Quan." "Thank you, sir." "Do not thank me yet. The first Ravager wave is ended. But our intelligence was wrong about many things. This was not a scout force. This is an invasion." Vormalik looked toward the horizon where more smoke rose. "The second wave is coming. Larger than the first. And it arrives in 6 hours." Quan tried to sit up. Pain exploded through his chest. "You need to rest," Vormalik said. "The colony needs defenders. The colony needs living defenders, not dead heroes." Quan met his eyes. "Then I will not die." "Humans are good at that," Vormalik smiled. It was small and brief, but it was there. "Yes," the great hunter said. "I remember." 4 hours later, Quan woke in the medical tent. His chest was wrapped in healing bandages. Tubes pumped medicine into his arms. His body felt heavy, but the pain had reduced to a dull ache. Medical Officer Yuna sat beside him, studying her scanner. "You should be unconscious for at least 12 hours, she said without looking up. "Your injuries are severe. Yet here you are, awake and alert. I heal fast. That is not healing fast. That is physiologically abnormal." Yuna finally looked at him. "I have been studying your medical records, Quan. Every injury you have received heals faster than baseline human average. Your pain tolerance is 3 times normal human levels. Your stress hormones remain stable in situations that would cause panic in most people." "Is that bad?" "No, just unusual." She saved her data. "I think some humans have evolved traits that other species lack. Not strength or speed, but resilience, adaptability, the ability to keep functioning when your body should shut down." Through the tent opening, Quan could see other cadets preparing defenses, building barricades, setting weapon emplacements. Everyone was working frantically. How bad is it? Quan asked. The second wave will hit us with approximately 500 Ravagers. We have 40 cadets, many injured. For Malik believes we cannot hold them all. He is planning something else. What? Yuna hesitated. A hunter strike. Take a small team deep into Ravager territory. Find the Queen directing the swarm, kill her. Without the Queen's coordination, the Ravagers will become disorganized. That sounds dangerous. It is suicide, Yuna said bluntly. But if we stay here and defend, the entire colony dies. This way at least some might survive. She stood to leave, then paused. Vormalik asked about you specifically. He wanted to know when you would be combat ready. I am ready now. You have a punctured lung. It still works. Just not perfectly. Yuna shook her head. You humans are insane. You know that, right? Probably, Quan agreed. That evening, Vormalik gathered the cadets in the command center. He looked tired. Even legends got tired, Quan realized. The Great Hunter had been fighting nonstop for hours. The second wave arrives in 2 hours. Vormalik began. Intelligence has confirmed it is a coordinated attack. There is a queen somewhere in the nearby mountains. She is controlling the swarm through pheromone signals. He activated a holographic map. I am taking a strike team to kill the queen. This mission is voluntary. I need fast, skilled warriors who can move quietly and strike hard. You will likely die, but if we succeed, we save this colony. Silence filled the room. Every cadet understood what this meant. Thexerol stepped forward first. I volunteer, Commander. Accepted. 3 more cadets volunteered. All elite fighters. All from warrior species with combat traditions going back centuries. Then Quan stood. His ribs screamed in protest. He ignored them. I volunteer, Commander. The other cadets looked at him, some with concern, others with confusion. Why would the injured human volunteer for a suicide mission? Vormalik studied Quan for a long moment. You are injured. You will slow us down. No, sir. I will not. You are human. Humans are not suited for stealth operations. With respect, sir, humans have been hunting on Earth for thousands of years. We evolved to track prey over long distances, to move quietly, to be patient, Quan met Vormalik's eyes, and to refuse to quit when the prey fights back. Something changed in Vormalik's expression. Recognition, maybe. Memory. Can you run 5 kilometers with those injuries? Vormalik asked. Yes, sir. Can you fight when we reach the nest? Yes, sir. Can you do this without dying and making me carry your corpse back? Quan almost smiled. I will do my best, sir. Vormalik looked at the other strike team members. Any objections to the human joining us? Thexerol spoke. Quan saved my life once. He saved 200 civilians today. He has earned his place. The others murmured agreement. Very well, Vormalik said. Quan, you are on the strike team. Stay close to me. Do exactly as I command, and try not to prove me wrong for accepting an injured cadet on a suicide mission. Yes, sir. They left an hour before the second wave hit. 6 warriors moving through the darkness. Vormalik led them along paths that avoided Ravager patrols. His senses were incredible. He could smell Ravagers from hundreds of meters away. Quan ran behind him, his ribs burning with every breath. But he kept pace. He had promised he would not slow them down. After 3 kilometers, one of the cadets whispered, "How is the human still running?" He should have collapsed by now. Humans are persistence hunters, Vormalik said quietly. On their world, they hunted prey by chasing them until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. Humans can run forever if they must. They reached the mountains. The Ravager nest was hidden inside a cave system. Vormalik stopped them at the entrance. From here, we move silently. The tunnels will be full of Ravagers. We cannot fight them all. We must reach the Queen before they overwhelm us. He looked at each team member. Whatever happens in there, do not stop. If someone falls, keep moving. The mission is more important than any individual. Do you all understand? They all nodded. Good. Then let us hunt. They entered the darkness. The tunnels smelled like death, old blood and decay. The walls were covered in organic material that Ravagers secreted to build their nests. They moved carefully. Vormalik led them through the maze with confidence. He had done this before, Quan realized. Many times. They saw their first Ravager 10 minutes into the tunnels. It was alone, feeding on something. Vormalik killed it silently with a blade to the spine. They moved on, more Ravagers appeared. The strike team killed them quickly and quietly. No alarms raised. No sounds. Then they entered a large chamber and found 50 Ravagers waiting. "It is a trap," Vormalik said calmly. "They knew we were coming." The Ravagers attacked all at once. The battle was chaos. Quan fought beside Vormalik, their backs together. The great hunter moved like flowing water. Every strike killed. No wasted motion. Quan could not match that skill. But he could match the determination. He fought through pain. He used the environment. When his rifle ran out of ammunition, he used his knife. When his knife broke, he used debris. A Ravager caught him across the back. Quan felt his armor crack. Blood ran down his spine. He grabbed the Ravager's leg and pulled it off balance, then crushed its skull with a rock. Another cadet fell. Then another. "The Ravagers were too many. We must break through," Vormalik shouted. "The Queen is close." Quan saw it then. A pattern in the way the Ravagers defended. They were protecting a tunnel on the far side of the chamber. That had to be the way to the Queen. "There," Quan pointed. "That tunnel." Vormalik saw it too. "Everyone pushed to that tunnel." Now they fought forward. 3 cadets remained now, plus Quan and Vormalik. They reached the tunnel entrance. "Go," Vormalik ordered. "I will hold them here." "Sir, you cannot. That is an order." "Kill the Queen, go!" Thexrel grabbed Quan and pulled him into the tunnel. The other 2 cadets followed. Behind them, Vormalik fought alone against impossible odds. They ran through the tunnel. It sloped downward. The smell got worse. The walls pulsed with organic growth. Then they saw her. The Queen was massive, 3 times the size of normal Ravagers. She sat in a chamber filled with eggs and smaller Ravagers. When she saw them, she screamed. The sound was so loud it hurt. All the Ravagers in the chamber turned toward them. 20 against 4, Thexrel said. "Not good odds." "Better than 0 against everyone," one cadet replied. Quan looked at the chamber ceiling. It was unstable. Natural stone mixed with Ravager secretions. "If they could collapse it, we need to bring down the ceiling," Quan said. "Bury them all, then fight our way out through the chaos." "How?" Thexrel asked. "Explosives at those 3 support points," Quan pointed. "The weight will do the rest." It was insane. They would be caught in the collapse too, but it was their only chance. "Do it," Thexrel ordered. They placed their remaining explosives. The Ravagers attacked. The strike team fought desperately, buying time for the charges to be set. "Ready." Quan shouted, "Detonate and run!" Thexrel ordered. The explosives blew. The ceiling groaned. Cracks spread across the stone. They ran. The chamber collapsed behind them. Stone and Ravager bodies fell in a massive avalanche. The Queen's scream cut off suddenly. The tunnel filled with dust and smoke. Quan could not see. He just ran forward, following the sounds of the others. Something grabbed his leg. A Ravager, half buried in debris. It pulled him down. Quan fell hard. The Ravager climbed over him, claws ready to strike. Then Vormalik was there. The great hunter had fought through the entire nest to reach them. His blade took the Ravager's head off. "Can you walk?" Vormalik asked, pulling Quan up. "Yes, sir." "Then let us leave. This place is collapsing." They ran together, the strike team moving as one. Behind them, the nest fell apart. Ravagers screeched and died beneath tons of stone. They emerged from the caves as the sun rose. 4 of them remained. Wounded, exhausted, alive. In the distance they could see the colony. The defenses had held. The second wave, without the Queen's coordination, had become disorganized. The remaining cadets and defenders had driven them back. Vormalik sat heavily on a rock. Blood covered his armor, but he smiled. "We did it," he said. "We actually did it." Quan collapsed beside him. His body was done. No more reserves. "No more strength. You fought well, young hunter," Vormalik said. "Thank you, sir." The fleet arrived 6 hours later. Massive warships descended from orbit, bringing medical teams, supplies, and reinforcements. The battle for Targus 3 was over. Quan woke in a proper medical bay aboard one of the fleet ships. His body was wrapped in advanced healing systems. Machines beeped softly around him. "You have been unconscious for 18 hours, Yuna said. She sat beside his bed again, like she had become his permanent guardian. "Your body finally gave up after the adrenaline wore off. Did everyone survive?" 32 cadets out of 40. 8 casualties. It could have been much worse. She paused. "Commander Vormalik has been asking about you. He visits every few hours to check your condition. The great hunter checks on me. You impressed him. That is not easy to do. The door opened. Vormalik entered, followed by Commander Hanna and several other officers. Vormalik looked better now. His wounds were treated. His armor was clean. "You are awake," Vormalik said. "Good, we have matters to discuss." Quan tried to sit up. Yuna helped him. "The Academy Board has reviewed the mission reports," Vormalik continued. "Your actions saved 200 civilians during the first wave. Your tactical observation led to the successful Queen strike. You fought through injuries that would have stopped most warriors." He looked at Commander Hanna. "I have made a recommendation to the board. I believe Quan should be fully certified as a Hunter Corps warrior. No more cadet status. Full certification," Hanna smiled. "The board has accepted your recommendation. Effective immediately, Quan is a certified hunter." Quan could not believe it. 6 months ago, they wanted to expel him. Now he was certified. Graduated, a real hunter. "Thank you, Commander." "Do not thank me yet," Vormalik said. "There is something else." The great hunter stepped closer. When he spoke again, his voice was formal, ceremonial. 70 cycles I have hunted. I have fought beside warriors from hundreds of species. I have seen bravery and cowardice, strength and weakness, victory and defeat. He paused. "But rarely have I seen what I saw in you, Quan of Terra." Vormalik placed his hand on Quan's shoulder. The gesture meant something. Quan could see it in the other officers' reactions. "In my culture, we have a tradition. When a warrior proves themselves beyond question, when they fight not for glory but for others, when they refuse to fall even when they should, we offer them kinship. We call them brother." The room was completely silent. "You fought like pack-kin, Quan. You protected the weak. You refused to abandon your mission or your team. You hunted beside me in the darkness and did not falter." Vormalik's grip tightened. "I'm old. I have few years left. I have no offspring. I have never called any warrior brother." He looked directly into Quan's eyes. "Until today. If you accept, I name you brother. You will carry my family honor. When I am gone, you will carry my legacy. This is not a small thing. This is everything." Quan understood. This was more than respect. More than recognition. This was adoption into legend. This was being claimed by history itself. "I accept, sir. I am honored beyond words," Vormalik smiled. Then he did something that shocked everyone in the room. He performed the full Kelvin kinship ceremony. It involved pressing foreheads together and sharing breath. It was ancient, sacred, and Vormalik had never done it before with any being from any species. When the ceremony finished, Vormalik stepped back. "You are now Quan, brother of Vormalik. When people ask who trained you, who believed in you, you will speak my name, and I will speak yours." The other officers in the room performed their species salutes. Even Commander Hanna looked emotional. "There is one more thing," Vormalik said. "The entire cadet team has requested to speak with you. They are waiting outside." The officers left. A moment later, cadets began filing into the medical bay. 40 cadets had deployed to Targus 3. 32 returned. They all came to see Quan. Texral entered first. The big Vorath looked uncomfortable, like he wanted to say something but did not know how. "I was wrong about you," Texral finally said. "I called you weak. I wanted you expelled. I was a fool." "You changed your mind," Quan said. "That takes strength too. I watched you fight 7 Ravagers alone to protect civilians. I watched you volunteer for a suicide mission while injured. I watched you suggest the strategy that killed the Queen." Texral performed his species' deepest bow. "You are the bravest warrior I have ever seen, and I am ashamed I did not see it sooner." Other cadets stepped forward. Each offered their own words, their own apologies, their own respect. A small cadet from the Srilex species approached last. She had been one of the ones who laughed at Quan during training. "My name is Nara," she said quietly. "During the first wave, I froze. I was too scared to fight. I watched my squadmates die because I could not move." Tears ran down her face. "But you did not freeze." "You never freeze. How? How do you fight when you are so afraid?" Quan thought about that. About Sector 7, about the evaluation, about the Ravagers. "I am always afraid," he admitted. "Every fight, every mission. I am terrified." "Then how?" "Because being afraid means you are alive. And being alive means you can still fight, still help others, still matter." Quan looked at all the assembled cadets. Humans have a saying, "Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is being afraid and doing it anyway." Nara nodded slowly. "I will remember that." The cadets left one by one. Texral remained last. "The others are organizing something," he said. "A celebration for the survivors." They want you there when you are healed. I will be there. Good. Thexrel turned to leave, then stopped. Quan, I am glad you did not quit. I am glad the Academy did not expel you. You make us all better warriors. After he left, Yuna checked Quan's medical readings one more time. Your body is healing faster than it should, she said. Again. I really should study you more carefully. Maybe humans are just stubborn. Even our bodies refuse to stay injured. Yuna laughed. Maybe. Or maybe some of you evolved to survive things that should kill you. Either way, you will be out of here in 3 days. Try not to get hurt again immediately. No promises. 3 days later, Quan stood in the Academy training hall. The same hall where Thexrel had mocked him, where other cadets had laughed, where he had been the outsider. Now 40 cadets filled the hall, veterans from Targus 3. They wore their combat scars proudly, and they gathered to celebrate not just survival, but brotherhood. Vormalik stood at the center, watching them all with approval. You are no longer cadets, the Great Hunter announced. You have seen real combat. You have protected the innocent. You have earned your place as hunters. He paused. Some of you exceeded all expectations. Some discovered courage they did not know they had. Some proved that strength comes in many forms. His eyes found Quan in the crowd, and some reminded us all why the human species deserves respect. Not because they are the strongest, but because they refuse to stop. Ever, the cadets cheered. Thexrel raised his drink. To the human. To Quan, the others echoed. Later, as the celebration continued, Commander Hana found Quan standing alone on an observation deck. He watched the stars through the massive windows. Thinking about home? Hana asked. Thinking about how far I have come. 6 months ago, I was about to be expelled. Now, he gestured at the celebration behind them. Now I have brothers from a dozen different species. And a legend calls me kin. You earned it. Every bit of it, did I? Or was I just too stupid to quit? Hana smiled. Maybe both. Humans have always been like that. We do not know when to stop. We do not know when something is impossible. We just keep trying until it becomes possible. She stood beside him, looking at the stars. There is a war coming, Quan. The Ravagers are getting smarter, more coordinated, more dangerous. The galaxy will need warriors who refuse to give up. Warriors who fight for others, not for glory. Warriors like us? Warriors like you, Hana corrected. I am old now. My fighting days are ending. But yours? Yours are just beginning. Quan thought about that. About all the colonies that needed protection. All the innocent people who needed warriors to stand between them and the darkness. Then I will fight, he said, for as long as I am needed. That is what I hoped you would say. Later that night, Quan returned to his quarters. They were the same bare metal walls, the same two-hard bed, but now they felt different. Like home, his computer showed a message waiting. He opened it. It was from his younger brother Hyun on Earth. I saw the news reports about Targus 3. They said a human cadet helped save the colony. Was that you? Everyone here is talking about it. They say humans are proving themselves as warriors now. I am so proud. Please write back and tell me everything. Quan smiled. He began typing his reply. Yes, that was me. I was scared the whole time. I got hurt badly. But I did not quit. I guess that is the human advantage. We are too stubborn to know when we are beaten. He paused, thinking about what else to say. About Vormalik. About Thexrel. About becoming a certified hunter. I learned something important here, he typed. Strength is not about how hard you can hit. It is about how many times you can get hit and keep standing. And humans? We can always stand up one more time. He sent the message and lay down on his bed. His body still ached. Probably would for weeks, but that was okay. Pain meant he was alive. And being alive meant he could keep fighting.